Hiya, freaks and ghouls, slashers and psychopaths, scatty cats and scatty dogs. I'm your horror host with the motherfucking most, the Headless Glen, and welcome to the Scaling Cemetery, where we dig up the stats of horrific individuals and bury the misconceptions. For this video, I'm treading dangerous waters, as I'm gonna talk about Godzilla in hell. First things first, this video is more about trying to prove something. That being that limiting Godzilla from the story to any finite scaling is not only misguided, but frankly wrong, even when looking at from the standpoint of death of the author, and thus ignoring author statements beyond the work. The ignoring of author statements in my scale may piss off some people, but note, this is not me trying to limit Godzilla to where I put him, but rather offering a low end for people who think this version of Godzilla is fodder. The rules I will be following are simple. I will not be including anything not directly coming from IDW themselves, thus Twitter, Facebook, DeviantArt, and other author statements or questions are not going to be included in this video. If you want that sort of thing, I've heard Godzilla King of the Monsters, the YouTuber, not the Toho character, will eventually cover that topic in due time. I will link his channel in the description. To say what is on the table, anything officially produced by IDW, such as the issue descriptions, the Godzilla in Hell inspiration, which was published in the comic series, and anything else officially stated. It is important to note that it is officially stated in the Godzilla in Hell inspirations that it was envisioned that Godzilla was moving from one pocket of hell to the next, so the cosmology I am about to discuss is likely smaller than the true version of hell, thus meaning that I'm giving an unquantifiable lowball. But first things first, how large are these pockets and how many of them are there? Well, starting off with the pockets themselves, I personally count 8 separate pockets throughout the story, that being Lust, the Abyss, Frozen Devastation, the Deluge, the Ice Wasteland, the Enclosed City, the Elementals, and finally the Gate. But how big are these pockets? Well, the Abyss is stated to be a void that contains countless souls, meaning too many souls to count, or potentially infinite souls contained within this void, along with all that has failed and gone wrong. The next pocket of hell, which I call Frozen Devastation, is considered a void like the Abyss, and contains an eternity of ice, which in this context is using eternity as a statement of size rather than time, meaning the ice itself seemingly never ends or is infinite, just like the Abyss is implied to be. It contains ships from all points of time, also potentially implying that hell itself exists outside of linear time to a degree. This void is also considered its own realm, much like the next layer of hell, that being the Deluge, which itself is an eternal or never-ending ocean. If these 3 are anything to go by, the rest of the realms, voids, etc. should be infinite in size, meaning we have at least 8 infinite-sized realms that potentially exist outside of time, or beyond time. This cosmology itself would scale to low multiversal at a low end, with scaling beyond time possibly getting us to 5th dimensional, or getting us to low complex multiversal. Though this is only if one believes the 4th dimension is time, which itself is dubious. At least low multiversal is likely the safest low end for the size of hell, even if you say that only the Abyss, Frozen Devastation, and the Deluge are infinite-sized pockets within hell, it would still get to this low multiversal level. Why does Godzilla scale? Well, the reason Godzilla should scale, or at least Hellbat Godzilla, is he was able to destroy the beast that's in front of the gate, which is stated to be an unstoppable force unlike any Godzilla has seen, which should include God, who assumedly is similar to his inspirations from Dante's Inferno and the like, and created Hell. Note, this is a tad of an assumption, but it is still arguable. If God did create Hell, then Hellbat Godzilla defeating the beast at the gate, which is an unstoppable force, seemingly beyond God, should scale to low multiversal levels of power. For base Godzilla, it's a bit dubious, but one could argue that he potentially was able to affect a infinite-sized realm, as just him arriving in the deluge raised stormy winds and waves of the infinite sea. Divine Godzilla, one could potentially argue, is comparable to God to a degree, as God's followers, as well as the followers of Hell, saw him worthy of praise once he had closed the portal to God themselves. It is a bit dubious if the divine amp of Godzilla actually stayed with him, as his aura is shown only for a limited time, at least as far as official statements go. Now, this would have base Godzilla at Infinite Universal, or, high 3A, with the ones beyond that having God potentially at least low multiversal, and then the Hellbat Godzilla being even higher than that, farther into low multiversal. Now, how consistent this is, I guess, is arguable, but I feel like this is a definitive idea that Godzilla should scale beyond the finite scaling like most people give him outside of the scaling which you can get through other statements. Now, with all that said, stay frosty, you fucks.